Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Get this, Tone. Rob Lowe thinks he ran into Bigfoot.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. I thought I did too, but it was just Le Batard with his shirt off.
Oh, see, that explains it.
Right.
Because that's similar. Visually, I got that.
It's not, Le Batard is not LeVar Ball with his shirt off. LeVar Ball is surprisingly jacked.
Still ripped, he's jacked.
Not
working out.
Not Le Batard.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
I'm sure LeVar still thinks he can take Lonzo in a game of one-on-one, but I'm with Lonzo.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Blake Griffin's future, a bold prediction from a Cubs owner, and Rockets general manager Daryl Morey joins us for five good minutes.
Wow,
not four, but five. But we begin today with alleged discontentment on the part of Chris Paul towards Doc Rivers and Doc's son, Austin Rivers. Doc says there was no such thing. Doc says, quote, he left because he wanted to be with James Harden. Let's not get that twisted, unquote. Wilbon, is that how you see it, that Chris Paul left the Clippers only to play with James Harden?
Well, I think he left primarily for that. That's out there now. But there's also other stuff. I mean, you and I, the day that Austin Rivers joined the Clippers,
that was a bad idea.
We winced and we thought, because what happens is it's perception. I mean, Austin Rivers could be just completely a great teammate. There's resentment toward the sons of big stars in any industry, whether it be media industry, basketball,
Because what you think is, I mean, the locker room in basketball is very small. It's only got 10, 12 people in it. And what you might think is, well, I don't want to say anything around him. He's going to go to his dad. He's going to say what I said. So I think we both thought not the greatest idea.
It could be dicey. And there was also a deal that, I guess that Chris says that Austin could have been involved in a package to go to New York for Carmelo.
Well, maybe, let me just say
back and forth.
We worked at newspapers for a long time. Okay, I don't know if this claim is true. It might just be convenient cover sent out there by Chris Paul's agent or Chris Paul's friends so that Chris Paul can have a reason to walk away. Because if you're with a team all year long, and this is never reported, it's very convenient that at the end, someone starts leaking his stuff. Someone starts leaking his stuff. But I know that I was very surprised yesterday that Chris Paul ended up in Houston. I was.
And so, but apparently he and Harden had talked and talked and talked. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't. I mean, I know Mike D'Antoni's an incredibly creative mind offensively, and he's going to have to be at his most creative. But how about discontentment with other things with the Clippers? Chris Paul wasn't coming back if Blake Griffin was going to be there. That wasn't going to happen.
This is the point that I've made for a couple of years. He hated Blake Griffin. Now you hear he hates Doc Rivers. Maybe he does.
No,
maybe he doesn't.
They were too close.
But at some point, don't you have to point out that for all the accolades Chris Paul has, he's never been out of the second round. He's never been out of the second round at this point. You know what I think is going to happen down the road?
What?
Because I think the NBA now is a year-to-year league. Because I think people are going to move all the time. I think that next year, the end of next year, that the Lakers are going to have Chris Paul and LeBron James.
Ooh.
That's what I think.
You went full.
That's what I think.
In on that.
I am.
Lonzo Ball, was he just going to wait in the corner for an open three?
No, they can play. Chris Paul
needs to have the ball.
They can accommodate that.
All right. It was always unlikely that Paul and Blake Griffin would both return to the Clippers anyway. But now Griffin appears to be in the catbird seat, Tony. And according to Ramona Shelburne, he wants the full 5-year deal, lurking somewhere around $200 million. So Griffin has gotten injured in each of the last two postseasons. And when he was there, the Clippers didn't win anything with him there either. So would you commit the full Monty to Blake Griffin?
Before I answer that question, you've got to tell me, who else are you going to commit it to at this point with that team?
Maybe nobody.
Well, see, I mean, I'm looking at that team now. I think that Blake Griffin is a fabulously exciting player. I think he's thrilling on the court from an entertainment perspective.
He's got a point guard setting him up.
Well, okay, he averages 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. I would tell you he's a second-tier LeBron James, and I mean that as a compliment. Second tier, though, not first tier. And I know you don't feel as highly about him as I do. But also, what you point out, he's missed 83 games in the past year, so you can't count on him. You cannot count on him.
What is that? And what do they say about the greatest ability is availability? You need
3
to
years,
have
83.
your
Did I say 1 year?
3 years. 3 years.
3 years.
You need your star player out there.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to be happening. And even when he's out there, Tony, they weren't great. And I talked to players in this playoff season, multiple players, different teams, who both said independently, you know what? He's losing his athleticism. The injuries are taking their toll, which they would on anybody.
Okay.
And they say that about Kevin Love and Blake Griffin, who are big, strong, yes, fabulously entertaining players. But, Tony, when it comes down to playoff time, there's nothing that says Blake Griffin can be the best player, the max player, or one of two max players on a great team.
See, what I find fault with is the assumption of the question that you can build around one guy anymore. You can't build around one guy.
Okay.
If Blake Griffin is the best guy you got, you're not going to win.
That's right.
You need
ensemble.
You need 3.
You gotta have an ensemble.
3. Golden State has 4.
And Houston now is trying to build toward that.
They got 2 at the moment.
At least.
But the NBA we're going to see is a collection of great
So you
players.
and I are saying no.
I wouldn't do it. No.
I don't think I would do it either.
Except that I think that he's entertaining. I do. Like to watch him.
All right. Let's talk about the team that's causing all this stress around the league, the Warriors. The Vertical is reporting that Warriors owner Joe Lacob is seriously concerned about the amount of luxury tax the franchise could have to pay in order to keep Andre Iguodala. While Iguodala isn't a starter, he was the Finals MVP 2 years ago. And 2 weeks ago, the Warriors finished the Finals plus 60 when he was on the court. Tone, champions lose human assets all the time. So how big a deal is it if the Warriors lose AI?
Andre Iguodala is a very good player. He is an unselfish player. He is a clutch player. You can't keep everybody, and you can't pay everybody. And the calculation probably is, do we want to keep Sean Livingston or do we want to keep Andre Iguodala? The most important thing on that team is to keep the 4 guys that are the core of that team.
Core 4.
And by the way, this happens in all sports.
It does.
All sports.
It does. And you have to decide who you're going to let go. And there was all this talk, though, 3-4 weeks ago, a month ago, that, of course, Durant would take 3-4 fewer million here. Curry would take 3-4 fewer million there.
Why?
And that might, wait a minute, to let Andre Iguodala have a certain paycheck. And he's got people, making Google eyes at him around the league because they'd like to have him. He's still 33 years old, even though he's played 13 years.
He's got 2 rings and he wants to get paid.
So you're saying get paid? Okay,
yeah.
but if you can get paid where you are and still chase championships, then that's where Joe Lacob comes into play.
The luxury tax is it'll cost him $1 billion
well, your boy
to
in
keep
Cleveland
all of these
just
people.
paid about $90 million in luxury tax.
Because my boy in Cleveland has a superstar who said, I will leave tomorrow morning if you don't do it. Now, that relationship is not the same in Golden State.
Not for any one guy.
I'm going to tell you something. We talked about, I remember this distinctly. At the beginning of the season this year, you sat here and you said this to me. They're in trouble. They lost all their big men. They lost Bogut. They lost the Zealand.
Trouble meaning I thought they'd lose to San Antonio.
But that's right. But you did.
That was trouble.
You did think they would lose.
I thought they had a problem with size.
So what we've seen is they adjusted, and championship teams have to adjust every single year.
To your point, you're going to lose assistant coaches. They lost Alvin Gentry and Luke Walton from the team right that won.
You adjust.
You're going to lose people, and the question is, how smart are you when replacing them?
You keep those 4 guys. You have to keep those 4 guys.
This guy Jordan Bell they just drafted? They took from the Bulls because the Bulls wanted $3.5 million. Well, the Warriors did that draft night. No headline to that. But that's the kind of move you look at later and you go, I wonder if this kid,
replaces
he's not going to
somebody.
become Andre Iguodala right away, but he can help.
Rob Pelinka, you boy.
Yeah.
The new general manager of the Lakers was introducing newly acquired center Brook Lopez to the LA media yesterday when he declared, quote, we don't see next year at all as a rebuilding year. We see it as a Lakers year. A lot of that is going to be centered around Lopez and what he stands for, unquote. And then he called Lopez, quote, a phenomenal human being and player, unquote. Wilbon, do you share Rob Pelinka's view that next year is not a rebuilding year?
Only if they were to get Paul George before this, going into the season, not even trading deadline. If you have Paul George and you have Brook Lopez and you have Lonzo Ball, and some of those other pieces who I think will be better for playing with Lonzo Ball, then I think they could be looking at a 7, 8, 9 situation.
And you don't consider that a rebuild, 7, 8, 9?
No, not a rebuild, because you're moving forward now. They've been terrible the last few years. But if you don't have Paul George, it's a rebuilding year. Because you're going to put Lonzo Ball out there. I don't care what his old man says. He has to now play a man's game, and that, as you point out, not for 28 games, but for 82 plus.
82.
So even though they're only going to play, these kids now, they play 65, I think they play the full season. So they'll play 70 games, and we'll see. It's a rebuilding year unless they have Paul George.
I don't know Rob Pelinka from a hole in the wall. I think this is an insane thing that he has said. Let me tell you the last 4 years, the amount of wins the Lakers have had in order. 27, 21, 17, and 26. So you're not rebuilding? You're going right to the conference top? Golden State, look out. Here's what they got.
Lopez played well on a bad Brooklyn team. He couldn't make that team any better.
7 games.
And he gets 5 rebounds a game.
This is what they've got.
Biggest man and the fewest rebound combination you've ever seen.
So I'm going to suggest to you that even with Paul George, it's a rebuilding year for them because Brook Lopez is on bad teams. Lonzo Ball, as we've said, is 19 years old. And then what else they got? What else they got? And thank you.
Magic not walking through that door?
Yeah, he's walking through the door, but in a suit in his 50s. When the Cubs went to the White House yesterday, they were accompanied by one of their owners, Todd Ricketts. Ricketts is good friends with President Trump. Ricketts was offered a position in the administration. The two engaged in conversation, and speaking of the Cubs series right now this week with the Nationals, Ricketts told Trump, quote, "We're going to run into these guys in the playoffs, and you'll come down and see them crumble," unquote. Let me emphasize crumble. Wilbon, big deal, little deal, no deal.
Which Ricketts did you say said that?
Todd Ricketts.
T-O-D-D.
Todd Ricketts.
Nobody cares what Todd Ricketts says.
Oh,
not even in his own clubhouse. Tom Ricketts.
Nats care.
You care.
Nats care.
First of all, the Cubs can't even get past the Milwaukee Brewers in their division. And right now, you know who they need managing them? And you know how much I love Joe Madden. Love Joe Madden. They need Billy Martin managing them right now. Because they look like
they're going to be hard to do.
Well,
going to be hard.
I don't know. Billy's an ornery, evil dude. He might just go Carey style up through the ground. Because right now, the Cubs have they're just la, 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 la. And it's like, oh, the season's a half over.
So you don't want to say this is a very big deal because it's a very big deal.
It's not a deal.
This is a rallying moment for the Nats.
And the Dodgers
better than the Cubs
are the
right
teams in the National League.
Who's this owner to say
matter?
This? They'll crumble. Now,
he's not even the owner that matters. He's the wrong owner.
Let's get the historical fact here. The Nats may crumble.
His brother matters.
They have crumbled in the past. They have relied on the bullpen.
They're not crumbling between now and October 1st.
They have not won a single playoff series since they are the Nats.
They're not crumbling between now and October 1st.
But they're going to be mad at this.
They're
going to make the Cubs
play
pay.
The Cubs anymore. They played 3 games in Chicago, maybe.
In this particular series, the Cubs got rid of a catcher. And the Cubs' third baseman almost broke his ankle.
I didn't get a chance to comment on that yesterday, by the way.
Go ahead, knock yourself out.
He's right, Montero. Arrieta did not.
You hate Arrieta.
No, I'm tired of him. Go be a free agent. Go play with James Harden. You did nothing. You're 7-6 with a 4.57 ERA. Montero was right. He did nothing to hold the runners on in that game.
But Montero's also 0 for 31.
That's fine.
What we like to call
Arrieta can come back and rip
Paul
Montero.
George numbers in the last
final
10
3
seconds.
minutes.
0 for 31.
The Nationals, I told you. They were going to sweep this series or win 3 or 4.
But coming up, we'll ask Rockets general manager Daryl Morey how this pairing of James Harden and Chris Paul is going to work.
That's a wildcat. Bow your head. We'll also ask him whether he needs to go after a third superstar.
So what about the Kentucky people? They're not wildcats to you? The Villanova people, they're not wildcats to you?
Where would you rather have gone to school?
Northwest.
Thank you, Jerry.
It's better academic. Yesterday, Daryl Morey landed 9-time All-Star Chris Paul. Today, he's doing a satellite hit with 2 bald guys. What a tremendous drop-off.
Not the same
We
day.
welcome the Rockets general manager back to the show. Let's start with this. Many people looked at this and they said, James Harden played great at the point. So how specifically do you envision this pairing working since they're both point guards?
Yeah, I've been asked that a bunch. I mean, I think it's pretty simple. Whenever you can add a USA Basketball member, a Hall of Famer, it's pretty easy to make it work. The guys who can play with James Harden are players who can defend, shoot, and handle the ball. Usually we have to pick one of those 3. With Chris Paul, we get one of the best all time at all 3. Mike D'Antoni is already meeting with Chris Paul tonight to talk through how it's going to work, and he thinks it's going to be great. And he's also worked with both of them in USA Basketball, and when the USA team's up 40, it seems to work fine.
Well, you mentioned Mike D'Antoni. Let's talk about that for a second, Daryl, because Mike obviously is a brilliant offensive mind. And he helped James Harden remake himself already in 1 year. What does he have to do? We're talking about getting in a laboratory and starting from scratch for both Chris and James.
Yeah, we had a top 10 offense ever last year, and obviously we're going to work to be better than that. So I told Mike, no pressure. He's just got to maybe be the best offense ever now. So, we think it's going to work together great. the players that work with him. I think Clint Capella is already planning out his 450 lob dunks he's going to have this year.
So did you blow up last year's offense that was a top 10 offense ever? Is it going to look totally different from anything we've expected from Harden and Paul particularly?
It's going to be different, but again, both of them have gone through this working with Mike and USA Basketball, and they know how to, like, when you have very, very good, very smart, very multi-skilled guards, it's a guards league, and it worked. This is today's NBA. You got to have multiple ball handlers, multiple shooters, and Chris, as you know, is a tremendous defender, been on the top defensive team for years and years.
You've used the phrase weapons race to load up and take on the top teams. I imagine since you're in the West, everything you do has an eye on Golden State. How much closer does this get you to Golden State? Does it make you absolutely competitive with them?
We feel like it really closes the gap. Obviously, they're the standard. They've won, 2 of the last 3 titles. They're one of the best teams of all time. Normally as we're planning this out, we're trying to get in that 60-win range, which really gives you a very high probability to be the one who's holding the trophy at the end. Unfortunately, in today's NBA, you win 60 wins, your odds are usually a little longer than you even want to admit. But, we've got James Harden in his prime. We got Chris Paul in his prime. We have to go all in at this point. That's why we're willing to give up what we were to get Chris, and we're willing to keep making moves until we can get this team to give Golden State a tough as hell 7-game series.
Let me get you out of here on this. Looking at the future with Chris Paul, do you plan to sign him to a max extension, or is it possible, because this is a business, that it's really only a 1-year deal?
It truly is just 1 more year, and we're hoping to get with him, when we're allowed to get with him and talk about bringing him back. But, we've never lost a superstar in Houston. Players fight over playing here with our ownership and the history, the second best team and record-wise in the last 10 years and 2 championships. Not many franchises can say they have 2 championships. So we're not worried about in a year, convincing him to come back. We feel very good about that. That's why we have multiple Hall of Fame banners of our players up in the rafters.
So let me go backwards then. You've got Chris Paul, you've got James Harden. They're great players. Cleveland has 3 great players as we sit here right now. Golden State has 4. 2 enough, or do you have to go out and get a third?
Well, I'd say let's not minimize who we have. We have Eric Gordon, who's the best three-point shooter in the league last year, based on the number of attempts he had. You got Trevor Ariza, one of the best wing defenders. Ryan Anderson, the best shooting big in the league. Clint Capella, who I think could move into that near all-star category. We're hoping to bring back Nene. So we have some tremendous players. We're not, I can never rest in my job, but we feel good about the group that we're bringing back. We got a lot of tremendous young players that we think can come along as well.
Thank you, Daryl.
Thanks
much.
Much appreciated.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Let's take one last break, but still to come, was it a good move for Jimmy Butler to share his cell phone number?
Ooh. Aaron Judge gives a look to heckling White Sox fans as he rounds the bases. Fair or foul? There's a wildcat who got this done.
No, I understand, but he's also a wildcat who believes in analytics, and somehow you don't believe in analytics.
I don't, but we all work to get it done.
Okay, but he believes in analytics.
He got it done. Daryl got it done yesterday.
Okay. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you on short notice.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Happy time. People, happy 19th birthday, Michael Porter Jr. This is the kid who had signed up with Washington, but left for Missouri when Washington fired Lorenzo Romar and Porter's father, Michael Porter Sr. Porter Sr. is now assisting at Missouri for Quanzo Martin, which explains why Porter Jr. has signed on there. Having not played a single college game yet, Porter Jr. is expected to be the #1 overall pick in next June's NBA draft.
This kid's supposed to be so good that people are going to tank for him. Can't wait for college hoop season again.
I can wait. A not-so-happy anniversary to this Yankee fan. On this day 7 years ago, the fan was on his cell phone when Mariner Rob Johnson hit a sharp line drive to right field that bounced out of play.
Good.
Instead of moving out of the way, the fan ended up taking a ground rule double right in the face.
Yeah, that 267-foot sign out there in right field. You see that? By the way, when they're crossing, the millennials are crossing the street and you're driving a car and they're looking at their phones, I'm thinking.
Happy trails to Jimmy Butler's voicemail box. In his introductory press conference as a Minnesota Timberwolf, Butler, anticipating criticism as the new face of the team, gave out his phone number, and he invited people to call him and share their thoughts.
Whoever has anything to say to me, feel free. 773-899-6071. So if you want to interview, there you have it.
My guess is there's no room in that particular mailbox right now, right?
All they're doing is saying, thank God you're here. We can get about the business of the playoffs because Jimmy Butler's going to take them there.
No errors today. Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do it.
Tim Tebow homered in his first day with High A St. Lucie. He's winning you over, isn't he?
He won me over as a quarterback. Even in the NFL, he might not have won others over, but he won games. That's what I liked about him. I don't care about this.
September call-up.
Mets. I don't care about that. Aaron Judge gave heckling White Sox fans a look after his home run last night. You okay with that?
Yeah, if you say stupid things to him and he hits one 460 feet, he can stare you down.
It's the double bird without the bird.
That's fair.
With his eyes.
White Sox manager, your boy Rick Renteria, has been thrown out of 3 of the team's last 6 games. Your thoughts?
People say, oh, yeah, rebuild. Just go ahead and rebuild. It's hard to lose 100 games or thereabouts. It's frustrating for him. The Braves designated Bartolo Colon, your boy, for assignment today. Is that it for him?
He's 2-8 with an 8.14 ERA, but
He's
the Mets have no starting pitching. He's pitched
They
there.
still don't.
He may go back
He's
there.
not a starter.
Last one, Battle of the Network Stars tonight. Are you intrigued by that?
Yes, because Kerry Champion, Cassidy Hubbard, Greeny, and Joe Tessitore, my friends and colleagues, are going to be on that show.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
Throwback. You're going to watch that, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Same time tomorrow.
What channel is it
You
on?
get the podcast on the app or Apple Podcast.
Usually you say I'm going to the clicker. I'm watching the Nats.
PTI.
Player, the max player, or one of two max players on a great team.
See, what I find fault with is the assumption of the question that you can build around one guy anymore. You can't build around one guy.
Okay.
If Blake Griffin is the best guy you got, you're not going to win.
That's right.
You don't need
Ensemble.
You need 3.
You gotta have an ensemble.
3. Golden State has 4.
And Houston now is trying to build toward that.
They got 2 at the moment.
At least.
But the NBA we're going to see is a collection of great
So you and I are saying no.
I wouldn't do it. No.
I don't think I would do it either.
Except that I think that he's entertaining. I do. Like to watch him.
All right. Let's talk about the team that's causing all this stress around the league, the Warriors. The Vertical is reporting that Warriors owner Joe Lacob is seriously concerned about the amount of luxury tax the franchise could have to pay in order to keep Andre Iguodala. While Iguodala isn't a starter, he was the Finals MVP 2 years ago. And 2 weeks ago, the Warriors finished the Finals plus 60 when he was on the court. Tone, champions lose human assets all the time. So how big a deal is it if the Warriors lose AI?
Andre Iguodala is a very good player. He is an unselfish player. He is a clutch player. You can't keep everybody, and you can't pay everybody. And the calculation probably is, do we want to keep Sean Livingston or do we want to keep Andre Iguodala? The most important thing on that team is to keep the 4 guys that are the core of that team.
Core 4.
And by the way, this happens in all sports.
It does.
All sports.
It does. And you have to decide who you're going to let go. And there was all this talk, though, 3-4 weeks ago, a month ago, that, of course, Durant would take 3-4 less million, fewer million here. Curry would take 3-4 fewer million there.
Why?
And that might, wait a minute, to let Andre Iguodala have a certain paycheck. And he's got people, making Google eyes at him around the league because they'd like to have him. He's still 33 years old, even though he's played 13 years.
He's got 2 rings and he wants to get paid.
So you're saying get paid?
Yeah.
But if you can get paid where you are and still chase championships, then that's where Joe Lacob comes into play.
The luxury tax is it'll cost him $1 billion.
Well, your boy
to
in
keep
Cleveland
all of these
just
people.
paid about $90 million in luxury tax.
Because my boy in Cleveland has a superstar who said, I will leave tomorrow morning if you don't do it. Now, that relationship is not the same in Golden State.
Not for any one guy.
I'm going to tell you something. We talked about, I remember this distinctly. At the beginning of the season this year, you sat here and you said this to me. They're in trouble. They lost all their big men. They lost Bogut. They lost the Zealand.
Trouble meaning I thought they'd lose to San Antonio.
But that's right. But you did.
That was trouble.
You did think they would lose.
I thought they had a problem with size.
So what we've seen is they adjusted, and championship teams have to adjust every single year.
To your point, you're going to lose assistant coaches. They lost Alvin Gentry and Luke Walton from the team right that won.
You adjust.
You're going to lose people, and the question is, how smart are you when replacing them?
You keep those four guys. You have to keep those four guys.
This guy Jordan Bell they just drafted. They took from the Bulls because the Bulls wanted $3.5 million. Well, the Warriors did that draft night. No headline to that. But that's the kind of move you look at later and you go, I wonder if this kid, he's not going to become Andre Iguodala right away, but he can help.
Rob Pelinka, you boy.
Yeah.
The new general manager of the Lakers was introducing newly acquired center Brook Lopez to the LA media yesterday when he declared, quote, we don't see next year at all as a rebuilding. He's going to go to his dad. He's going to say what I said. So I think we both thought not the greatest idea.
It could be dicey. And there was also a deal that, I guess that Chris says that Austin could have been involved in a package to go to New York for Carmelo.
Well, maybe,
the Doc didn't want.
Let me just say
back and forth.
We worked at newspapers for a long time. Okay, I don't know if this claim is true. It might just be convenient cover sent out there by Chris Paul's agent or Chris Paul's friends so that Chris Paul can have a reason to walk away. Because if you're with a team all year long, and this is never reported, it's very convenient that at the end, someone starts leaking his stuff. Someone starts leaking his stuff. But I know that I was very surprised yesterday that Chris Paul ended up in Houston. I was.
And so, but apparently he and Harden had talked and talked and talked. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't. I mean, I know Mike D'Antoni's an incredibly creative mind offensively, and he's going to have to be at his most creative. But how about discontentment with other things with the Clippers? Chris Paul wasn't coming back if Blake Griffin was going to be there. That wasn't going to happen.
This is the point that I've made for a couple of years. He hated Blake Griffin. Now you hear he hates Doc Rivers. Maybe he does.
No,
maybe he doesn't.
They were too close.
But at some point, don't you have to point out that for all the accolades Chris Paul has, he's never been out of the second round. He's never been out of the second round at this point. You know what I think is going to happen down the road?
What?
Because I think the NBA now is a year-to-year league. Because I think people are going to move all the time. I think that next year, the end of next year, that the Lakers are going to have Chris Paul and LeBron James.
Ooh.
That's what I think.
You're going full.
That's what I think.
In on that.
I am.
Lonzo Ball, was he just going to wait in the corner for an open three?
No, they can play. Chris Paul can accommodate. They can accommodate that.
All right. It was always unlikely that Paul and Blake Griffin would both return to the Clippers anyway. But now Griffin appears to be in the catbird seat, Tony. And according to Ramona Shelburne, he wants the full 5-year deal, lurking somewhere around $200 million. So Griffin has gotten injured in each of the last 2 postseasons. And when he was there, the Clippers didn't win anything with him there either. So would you commit the full Monty to Blake Griffin?
Before I answer that question, you've got to tell me, who else are you going to commit it to at this point with that team?
Maybe nobody.
See, I mean, I'm looking at that team now. I think that Blake Griffin is a fabulously exciting player. I think he's thrilling on the court from an entertainment perspective.
He's got a point guard setting him up.
Well, okay, he averages 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. I would tell you he's a second-tier LeBron James, and I mean that as a compliment. Second tier, though, not first tier. And I know you don't feel as highly about him as I do. But also, what you point out, he's missed 83 games in the past year, so you can't count on him. You cannot count on him.
What is that? And what do they say about the greatest ability is availability? You need
3 years,
to have your...
Did I say 1 year?
3 years. 3 years. Yeah. You need your star player out there.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem to be happening. And even when he's out there, Tony, they weren't great. And I talked to players in this playoff season, multiple players, different teams, who both said independently, you know what? He's losing his athleticism. The injuries are taking their toll, which they would on anybody.
Okay.
And they say that about Kevin Love and Blake Griffin, who are big, strong, yes, fabulously entertaining players. But, Tony, when it comes down to playoff time, there's nothing that says Blake Griffin can be the best player. Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Get this, Tone. Rob Lowe thinks he ran into Bigfoot.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. I thought I did, too, but it was just Levitard with his shirt off.
Oh, see, that explains it.
Right.
Because that's similar. Visually, I got that.
It's not, Levitard is not LeVar Ball with his shirt off. LeVar Ball, surprisingly, jacked.
Still ripped. He's jacked.
Not
working out.
Not Levitard.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
I'm sure LeVar still thinks he could take Lonzo in a game of one-on-one, but I'm with Lonzo.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Blake Griffin's future, a bold prediction from a Cubs owner, and Rockets general manager Daryl Morey joins us for 5 good minutes.
Wow,
Not 4, but 5. But we begin today with alleged discontentment on the part of Chris Paul towards Doc Rivers and Doc's son, Austin Rivers. Doc says there was no such thing. Doc says, quote, he left because he wanted to be with James Harden. Let's not get that twisted, unquote. Wilbon, is that how you see it, that Chris Paul left the Clippers only to play with James Harden?
Well, I think he left primarily for that. That's out there now. But there's also other stuff. I mean, you and I, the day that Austin Rivers joined the Clippers,
that was a bad idea.
We winced and we thought, because what happens is it's perception. I mean, Austin Rivers could be just completely a great teammate. There's resentment toward the sons of big stars in any industry, whether it be media industry, basketball,
Because what you think is, I mean, the locker room in basketball is very small. It's only got 10, 12 people in it. And what you might think is, well, I don't want to say anything around him.